Welcome to the Secrets Women Keep podcast. I am your secret keeper and confidant, Lauren White. I'm a qualified counsellor and sexologist, madam of a secret society, author of Permission, and a witty, highly intuitive lounge room dancing introvert. I help you as an exceptional woman in entrepreneurship to see, love, and trust all the parts of yourself, especially the unseen. Let's pull back the curtain, light the candelabra, and remove the mask. These are the secrets women keep. Hello, and welcome to the Secrets Women Keep podcast. I'm your host and confidant, Lauren White, and today we have a very special guest and psychology powerhouse. Her name is Dr. Libby Quinn. Libby is a clinical psychologist who has completed her doctorate in clinical psychology and worked solely in private practice for 11 years. It's her mission in this life to serve, grow, and most importantly, have fun. What Libby really wants for women out there is to help them optimize their psychological well-being through the provision of evidence-based therapy. She's a mama and as you'll come to learn, has had many a brush with trying to keep it all together. So if you've been stuck in the trying to keep it all together and want to know what's on the other side of that, then you're about to be let in on all of the secrets. Here to talk the secrets of burnout to illumination is Libby Quinn. Libby, welcome to the podcast.
Oh, thank you, Lauren. It's so good to be here. And like we were just chatting before you press record, I feel the timing of this interview is, it couldn't be any better, really. So I'm excited to see what comes out, because I think a bit could come out and hopefully is helpful for your audience.
Yeah. I can guarantee you it will be, because everything that you say is helpful and resonates right down to people's cores. And it's funny that you said about the timing, because, when I originally contacted you, I felt like to be on the podcast, I was a little bit like, I'm not sure if she wants to be on it. We had a bit of back and forth, and then we had a bit of a time gap. And I said to myself, just trust in the timing. Like, don't push her to quickly book in and get her time. Like, if she wants to do it and it gets her, she'll do it at the time where it's going to be the most fruitful recording. So I just wanted to share that with you, because I agree with you. I really trust the timing, and it's happening today and not 3 weeks before or 4 weeks ago for a very, very good reason.
Oh my goodness. Such a good reason. Like I have to try and keep the tears in, because I think, it's something that's been on my mind a lot lately. And I've been saying it to other people. I'm like, timing's everything. Like I haven't been one previously to really subscribe to that belief. But my beliefs are changing, as we'll discuss shortly. But it's something I've really been tuned into a lot, is just trusting the timing of things. And the timing of this interview today is very well placed. It was meant to be.
Yeah. Perfect. Not that we believe in perfection, but sometimes it's okay to say perfect, right? When it comes to timing, it's okay to say perfect.
Perfect timing. It's the one thing in life that can be perfect, I reckon.
Yeah. Now, Libby, you've given me your consent to talk about how we first met. The truth is, you were my second or third one-to-one client ever when I went into having my own business. And I'll never forget how much it meant to me that you were saying yes to doing the work that I was offering, and how responsive you were to the work. Like, you were willing to just do it, and you went above and beyond, which is such a, it's such a clear representation of who you are anyway. Above and beyond. But above all, you were so vulnerable, and you were so vulnerable from the get-go. I remember sitting in sessions with you, and you would just, I don't know if you remember this, but you would just sit there and you would take your time, and you would just like look out the window and just pause. And I would sit there in silence and wait for you. It's like these, like you knew, just to go back to timing, it's like you knew that you needed that little bit more time to just process and heal. And I was just wondering, what are your memories of stepping into coaching in 2013?
Oh, Lauren, this is like it's such like, I don't know if sliding doors moment is the right right phrase here, but it's really it's an emotional thing to reflect on and talk about at the moment because of the recent shifts that I've had and that are still happening for me at the moment. And when I think back to that previous version of myself all the way back in 2013 and seeking out your expertise and your help and coming along to see you, I was, a practicing psychologist at the time. I think I've only told like three other people that I went and saw a sex therapist. So hello world, now you know. And I said to you before this interview, Lauren, and it's something that's been on my mind because I knew there was going to be some time in the future where we would have the chance to talk on a podcast, that I wanted to share this because I think it's something that's still not spoken about enough, that we as professional women, as givers, as therapists, as healers, whatever we are, go and seek help. And when I think back to that time in 2013, I was petrified to be vulnerable, really, to be the person who was typically the helper and the professional and kind of, even though we're not meant to say it, but an expert, to then recognize in myself, oh shit, I've got this problem. And despite all the reading that I'm doing, I can't solve this on my own. So it was a big thing to book the appointment with you.
Yeah.
And then really big to sit in that first session with you. But I've yet to have anyone surpass that experience with you, Lauren, in terms of, I think you have a phenomenal skill set of really being able to see women, and I'm sure that that's just grown over time, since those early days for you, but it's just such a natural part of who you are, and that was scary, to really be seen by someone who was seemingly at that point a stranger but could really see me. And then, once parts of you are seen, you can't unsee them.
Yeah.
And that's, I think, like what we were just chatting about now, like that's really exhilarating and empowering and, expansive, but it's also really scary when you see these vulnerabilities and truths within you that, in some ways it feels safer to push that back down and pretend you didn't open that up, really. But yeah, life-changing experience having that therapy with you. And then I think it was a few years later I had some issues again and checked back in with you again.
Yep.
But yeah, it's a life-changing experience. And I think I've said to you along the way when we've touched base at different points, I'm like, certain things you've said to me have popped into my head at different points. And I feel like that's just such a, what's the word? Just a beautiful aspect of any kind of therapy is that you don't know as the therapist just how that experience you have with someone of what you're saying or the enlightenment that they're getting then of how that's still going to serve them down their path in different ways. So yeah, that you're the gift that keeps on giving, Lauren. still kept on giving right to this day. So yeah, it's and I think I'm sure you saw it in your work as a sex therapist, Lauren, that and it's still unfortunately the case that there's a lot of shame in seeking help from a sex therapist. Like it's even shame for women talking about sex. Yeah. And I think that was a part of my issue when I came to see you, was just that whole, I remember you talking to me about the Madonna and the whore complex and just really struggling with that phenomenon of being a married woman and having had certain experiences that made me anxious about sex, but then also knowing that there was this part of me there that I wanted to express, but I was just so confused about how to do that. So but life-changing experience.
Yeah. Oh wow, that's so thank you. That's so touching to hear. Thank you for what you reflected back, and thank you for also putting it in the context of what it is that other women are experiencing and do experience when it comes to sex, because shame and guilt and feeling powerless and feeling unworthy of having desires and fantasies beyond what their actual reality is such a pervasive issue that blocks so many women from their pleasure, from seeking accurate forms of information, from seeking help. And it really is, and anyone who's been around for a little while would have heard me say this, but it really is the most vulnerable part of ourselves. There's a but on that. I really believe if you go to your sexuality like you did in 2013 and beyond, when you go to your sexuality, you activate all the other parts of any other work that you've done. You you inadvertently tap into dreams, you tap into sensuality, you tap into boundaries, you tap into consent, you tap into your voice, you tap into your needs, your preferences. It's just going to your sexuality is such a powerful experience. And I'm really, I'm really touched it moved you. And if memory serves, it moved you to the point that you got pregnant.
Yes,
the end of our work together the first time.
It worked. Look at that. Clear evidence right there. Absolutely. Absolutely. And it's what you're saying there, and I may have said this to you in a message, Lauren, but there was big progress there for me, with my sexuality and with my sensuality and letting go of shame. And then there was lots of growth with that, but I felt that there was still this one block there, and I couldn't understand it. I couldn't put my finger on it, on what it was. And then I think it was last year after going through burnout, that whole kind of you've got to blow yourself up. That's what I feel like I did. I blew myself up with burnout and was kind of in these pieces that then I had to, it was almost like rebuilding myself in a different way. And it was only through that process that I don't know what it was. Do you know what it was actually? I started listening to music I listened to when I was 19.
Yes.
So this happened 6 weeks ago. I just randomly, I was on my own, had the house to myself and put on, R&B hip hop from when I was 19. And it just tapped into this part of me that hadn't been alive since I was 19, properly alive. And that brought back a lot of exhilaration and that sense of fun and spontaneity and sensuality. But it also brought back these memories where I had locked my sexuality away, locked my sensuality away, locked my power away because of certain experiences to do with kind of masculine energy, I suppose we could say, where I then became just really aversive to masculine energy and really, I don't know how to describe it, but just that shut down a part of my sexuality because I'm a heterosexual woman attracted to masculine energy, and just shut down and was associated with that as well. And it wasn't until I made this connection myself that I was just like, oh my God, I've just kept this part of me kind of locked away for so long, this one element. And since then, I've just been more in my sensuality than I probably ever have. And like what you were saying before about the importance of illuminating that as a woman and being in that, I feel more powerful. Powerful is the word, really, more powerful than I ever have. I don't know, fierce, really fierce in a good way, and just completely embracing all of myself and really not giving a fuck what anyone else thinks. I've never properly been in that line.
No.
There's been elements of that, and I've kind of swum around in it a little bit and gone, yeah, I'm I'm confident, I'm powerful, I'm in this, I'm owning myself. But there was this part of me that which was kind of tied up in shame, which I wasn't owning. And now I'm just, it's hard to describe, but powerful is probably the right word. I don't know if that makes sense.
Yes, it does. It does to me. And I'm almost seeing a timeline of your burnout. So to give people a little bit of background, just this is my memory of 2020 for you, is that you worked your fucking ass off and you served and served and served and served. And when you weren't serving clients, you were serving in your home life and you were serving on Instagram stories, so many Instagram stories of Libby sharing, reassuring, comforting, just giving. And then you made the announcement in the third quarter of last year, and it's like, I am going to close down my one-to-one practice. I'm going to reshift my focus on other aspects of life and the work and what it could be in future. And I'm wondering, like, sorry, have I missed? Is that all?
That's it. Yep.
Yeah. And I'm wondering, and please fill in the gaps of what I see as an outsider. I'm wondering if your burnout and your, blowing your own life up, like you mentioned, whether that took your nervous system out of survival mode into, and you do experience some other forms of survival mode when you're going into burnout recovery. It's like, all of the doubt. But you would never have felt that fierceness, that power, that sensuality, that sexuality, that full feminine, fully fledged feminine. I'm full of myself. I don't give a fuck what you think. I actually embody the confidence, don't just say the confidence. I wonder if you would ever be able to feel any of those things without the blowing yourself up. Like the polarities of going through burnout, crashing down to the ground and rebuilding yourself.
No.
Whether you were ever going to touch on any of those feelings or embody any of those feelings without really taking things to the max.
No, absolutely. And that's where I can look back now, like at the time of experiencing burnout and shortly after it, there was a lot of shame with that, because again, it's that whole, I should know better. Why did I do this to myself? But ridden through it and surrendering to the experience of it, and having enough awareness to say, look, I'm stopping and I'm just going to see what happens. And that's fucking scary, coming from a recovered perfectionist that loves certainty and a plan. But I now, in recent weeks, it's just become so crystallized in me that I needed to do that. I needed to actually push myself like I did, because that was this old patterning of, you've just got to work hard, you've got to serve, and if someone's asking, you've got to help. I actually needed to do that last year to get to where I am now. If I just kind of pussyfooted around and hadn't really stuck in those old shitty patterns and just gone, no, let's just be really balanced, I'd still be in that space. I'd still be seeing one-to-one clients. I wouldn't have had any of these just truths dropping in and being able to step into my power. I wouldn't be where I am right now. So I needed to push myself to blow myself up, to blow my life up, to feel completely broken. I don't really like the word crisis so much, but I can't really think of a better word at the moment. But, essentially I feel like I've gone through and still going through a huge identity shift in all facets of my life. And whilst it feels still kind of quite unnerving in some respects, it also just feels really fucking good. Like it feels really equally powerful and equally, I don't have all the answers right now. I don't have a plan. I don't have certainty. But I have a lot of love for myself. And I don't think I ever have to this degree. And with that, it's just a lot of owning myself and all the parts of myself, and not giving a fuck what anyone else thinks, really. So yes, I needed to do that to myself to get to where I am now, and to continue on this path, really.
Yeah. I can feel the difference in you from 6-9 months ago, and it really does feel like a witnessing of your evolution, and that you knew all this stuff because you're smart as fuck. You knew all this stuff, but knowing and embodying are two very, very different things. Like I knew that you knew. That wasn't the
yes.
It wasn't like she doesn't know this stuff. It was, and this is all of us, by the way. This is me, this is all of us.
Yes.
It's the embodiment of it. It's you actually being. When you are the thing, you don't even have to use those words anymore. Like you won't even have to say, I don't give a fuck what other people think. You won't ever have to make an Instagram quote out of that, because you will just be so in that energy and you're stepping into that when you show up, that no one will even think, oh, she's worried about what other, like no one will even think that. It'd be like, she seems pretty fucking happy with herself. Can I have some of what she's having?
What's she having?
Yeah.
Yes.
And that is the work, is actually being the thing, not just talking about the thing. That's not
the
work, is actually being the thing. And when you feel it, pumping through your veins, it's just you're not going to go back to talk, just being all talk about it anymore. And you won't.
No. And that's a big one, I think. And I feel like you probably even said that back to me in 2013. And like what you say, a universal phenomenon for so many women, where so many of us, we're so fucking intelligent, we're so in our minds, we're so clever, we know all the right things that we're meant to be doing, we're even like trying to do them. But it's a different language to speak, I suppose, to embody something and to be really in your body, which is something that I've always struggled with, because I'm always in my mind. I love being in my mind. It's so comfortable, and I, get trapped in that, thinking that that's the way to solve problems and to fix things. And I've always struggled to properly be in my body and stay in my body, and to embody what I know up here, really. And it was this goddamn throwback playlist for when I was 19 that what's the word? It just kind of, it just kind of tripped my body.
Yes.
It got my body back to an experiences, good experiences. So it like totally bypassed my brain, right? Like that's what I needed. Yeah. And I've tried so much, as you would know, and as so many women have, to do all the right things, to practice good self-development, to build more confidence, to own more of myself, to be more present, to be more calm. It's like, right, I'm going to challenge my core beliefs. I'm going to practice meditation. I'm going to make sure I'm exercising X amount of times, like doing all these things, which I think so many of us try to do when we're on this path of self-development, which I think many women are, and I'm sure 99.9% of your audience are. We try to do all of these things to feel more alive, to break patterns, and to keep growing. But it's been such an eye-opening experience for me so it's been, I think, 10 weeks now from when I first listened to this playlist, and it bypassed my brain and it went straight to my body, where I was just like, oh my God, I'm just flooded with these feelings and sensations and these experiences of how I used to hold myself when I was 19 and how I used to be. And it felt so fucking good in my bathroom.
I want to be in on that bathroom. Can I come to that
9:30 on a Saturday night? Phones were in. I'm not sure if my neighbours can see into my bathroom. I'm a little concerned that maybe they can, but whatever. It was 9:30 on a Saturday night. I was home alone listening to this, and I was just like, oh my God. And my body was just like woken up. And then from that moment on, I couldn't stop listening to that music. So on the way to the gym, at the, when I was listening to this music, and it was bringing back those sensations, experiences, memories, and bringing me into that sense of sexuality and sensuality and power, like me, bringing me back to me. And it felt so good that I was just like, I just want to stay in this. Like, it was lots of dopamine. Yes. I was just being like the biggest dopamine addict. I'm like, fuck, this feels good. And especially given the, when you go through burnout and go through serving and being stuck in this productivity loop, you get dopamine in a different way for being productive, but it's not in this euphoric, pure body sensation. So I was starved of that. I'd starved myself.
Starved is a good word. Yeah.
Starved for years, Lauren. Like, there might have been little snippets of it here and there, but that's just it. It was snippets. And so I was just flooding myself with this euphoric body sensation, dopamine hits, where I was just like, I just want to stay here. And it felt so good. And this is what was so interesting for me, because it was so out of character for me, that I then went to like go pick up a book one night, and I was like, I just can't. I can't read. And I love reading. I love information. I love, I can't get enough of books. And I was like, I just can't read. And then I'd go to listen to a podcast. I'm like, oh, that looks really good. And I'm like, I can't hear it. I can't listen. I can't take on more information. That's not what I need at the moment. And my brain, which it very much needed to, it went offline, and my body came online. My body had been offline for so many, like, properly. And so it was like this switch. It was like my brain had just like packed up. It had gone away, which it needed to. My body was there and just kind of like running the show. And that came in lots of different ways. Like, again, I'm really big on intuitive eating. I try to practice that, but it's always been such a top down of like, this is how you do intuitive eating, proper intuitive eating, of just being so tuned into my body of, what do I feel like right now? What do I need? And I can't believe how much what's the word? Just growth has come from being in my body.
Yeah. Yeah. And I just want to say the word that came through for everything that you just shared, which absolutely blows my mind. It doesn't blow my mind. It blows like my sacral center. It's just like shouting and jumping for joy, like, yippee, yippee. She's feeling it. She's expressing. She's in her body. Her body came online and her mind went off. The thing that came through, the word that came through was remembering. You have been through a period of remembering. What does that word bring up for you?
Yeah, I think it's really accurate, because when I think back to that night 10 weeks ago, dancing in my bathroom on my own, and it was a complete remembering. Like, it was this, and it wasn't my mind, it was my body. It was my body remembering who I was, and most importantly, in this way of how I felt, like how my body felt. And it was remembering just this sense of like of joy and euphoria and exhilaration and just feeling good ultimately. And it's, I think, like I said to you just before, it's not as if I haven't felt good since I was 19. There's definite, that's been a bit of a worry if that's the case. But, I've definitely felt good. I felt confident and I've felt powerful at times, absolutely. And I'd like to think of myself as generally, a pretty optimistic, happy person and have a really good life. But the feeling that I have now, and that came up for me that night 10 weeks ago, it's it is this complete remembering, and it's that sense of just really it's hard to describe, isn't it? It's hard to describe.
It is because it's sensory and it's sensations, and honestly, that what you've said captures it. And this is what we do, isn't it? We say, oh, how can I describe this even better? And it's like how many words are there for what you feel in your body, and you just know, and feels like a very unique personal experience. There aren't words for it. And that's the nectar. That's the good stuff in life. That's the deep stuff. That's the, and for anyone listening, I want you to notice how this is freely available to you. Libby did not go on a 10 days silent retreat to find this out about herself. There's so much power in the ordinary moments that we overlook because we think it needs to be more complicated, or it needs to be a special set of circumstances, or if only I could travel overseas and have this experience. No, like the most powerful moments you can have are in your kitchen, or in your bathroom, sitting on the toilet. Like they can be some of your most powerful moments, freely available to you. No, not a lot of effort, but just a whole lot of willingness and curiosity and taking a step into a past aspect of yourself, because that past aspect never leaves you. They might go quiet, but they never leave you. So don't abandon the parts of you that not just know, but are able to be in fun and exploration and exhilaration and illumination.
Yes, absolutely. And I think a key thing for me and potentially a lot of women is, like what we were saying before, when you're on this quest for growth or trying to find more confidence or power or trying to find yourself, we typically go down this path that's very cognitive focused. And being a psychologist that's definitely trained in cognitive behavior therapy, it's helpful. It can work. It's great. And, I've definitely done that to the nth degree to myself. But, and I feel like you used to say this to me too, Lauren, like it keeps you stuck to try and solve the problem with your head when you're actually, you're sabotaging yourself. You're keeping yourself stuck, but you think that, well, that's the only way to solve this problem. And okay, well, that book didn't work, or that therapist didn't work, so I've got to try someone else. Or oh shit, maybe it didn't work because I only meditated 3 times last week. Maybe I've got to try 5 times this week. And it's all, we just stay on that loop of looking for things outside of ourselves to try to connect us with our power that's kind of deep inside, to connect us with our true authentic selves. And it's, to me, it just has felt like it's really been about letting go of all of that stuff, letting go of all of the head stuff, and not intentionally. I didn't intentionally do it, but if anyone's finding themselves stuck, maybe I'd encourage to try and get out of your head and get into your body. And I think that's what was life-changing for me, was the music. It was the music that tripped my body and tripped memories and experiences back for me, that I felt in my body, and that lit my body up. That felt so good that I couldn't, the brain couldn't sabotage that then, if that makes sense. Like I was just like, but fuck, this feels good. And, the wonderful thing about the way that we're wired too is we kind of want to come back for more. We're like those rats with the levers in the cage. It's like, give me more of that dopamine and that euphoric body sensation and that sense of feeling sensual and powerful and that sense of just embracing me. I want that. And that's why I kept going back to the music. And it's, I'm still listening to that music. I have started reading again. But I just feel more myself than I ever have. And I feel more in love with myself than I ever have. I feel more powerful. And just, what's interesting for me is I've never really done it. I've read that it's good to do. I've probably tried to do it with my head, but I actually feel like I'm really surrendering to life. Like, I've always been someone who's been had very rigid beliefs around that we've all got such strong volition over our lives and lots of control and being able to have plans. And if something happens that thwarts those plans, you just make a new plan. Like I've loved plans and certainty. And when people I talk about coincidences or the timing of things or certain things happening, I've just been like, oh, that's a load of bullshit. Let me just stick to my plans and
let me show you my calendar. Let me show you my calendar.
Exactly. I'm just like, coincidences. What are you talking about? Yeah. And now being in my body and feeling so good, I'm just like, I still believe in having plans and having a level of volition over our lives, absolutely. But I was saying to someone the other day, it's opened up and it's expanded my experience of life now because I'm just actually open to the unknown and to kind of welcoming small experiences in my day, if it's a conversation with a stranger or running into someone, whatever it might be. And I'm just like, fuck, that's magical. Like, that's awesome. And I go to bed now and each night, like, not forcing it in any way, but I'm just kind of like, I wonder what tomorrow's going to bring. Like, just, it's opened, it's my experience of life has just expanded, but my life probably doesn't look that different.
Yes.
On the outside. And that's a part of this whole, process of what I've gone through. And I think where I'm at the moment is just, I feel really different. I feel like I'm experiencing life in a really different way. And it feels like it just, life feels exciting again.
I'm so clappy. I'm clapping. I am feeling you. I am feeling you so much more like this than I was feeling you when you're in your head. Like, I'm actually really, I've always felt you, of course, and what you stand for and your values, but it's like you are speaking another language now. Like, this is you speaking the language and being the thing. And when you use the word excitement is my favorite sensation. It's what I base all my work. I'm asking myself, does this turn me on? Does it excite me? Like, I'm asking myself, does this person turn me on? Does working with this person and it's honestly so clarifying to put excitement as the centerpiece, and it just, that is a good dopamine to turn on if you are going to turn on one, because then you get to ask, is the way I'm moving my body right now exciting? Is this conversation exciting? Is this and granted, not everything's going to be exciting, but the one way I twist that around is doing this kind of mundane thing going to help me get to the exciting bit? Like, just, is it one of the stepping stones I need to do so that I can feel excitement? And I really, really want to reflect back to you that I am hearing how you've embraced magic. And I never, I've got goosebumps running down my legs, always me tuning in. You would never have used that word surrender before 9 months ago.
No.
You never would have.
No, fuck no. No way. I might have tried to use it, but it wouldn't have been embodying it at all. And I think I and it's what we were saying before, I struggle. I'm not one to struggle to find words, but I struggle to find words to describe this experience because it's not a cognitive experience. It's a bodily experience, and it's I was saying to someone the other day, and I think I've said it to several people when maybe they've commented on how I'm seeming, like my energy is different, or we'll be talking about an experience that's happened for me lately, and I'm just like, oh, that normally would have ruffled my feathers, but I'm just like, oh, whatever. And I've said to lots of people, I'm like, I don't even know who I am anymore. And that's been something I've said a lot, and I'm using it in terms of the way that I feel. It's like I don't even know who I am anymore, but I actually know myself more than I ever have. So if that makes sense, like I don't when I'm saying I don't know who I am anymore, it's this previously really nicely constructed picture of Libby. You know, and that's the picture that I subscribed to previously and I lived by. You know, I was a mum, a wife, a psychologist. I was a good daughter, a good friend, helping people, giving, caring, working hard. Like there was this picture I had created and lived by, I suppose, unknowingly. And it had a lot of certainty with it, but a lot of restriction with it as well. And none of that's not who I am. And so when I'm saying I don't know who I am anymore, it's like I'm not subscribing to that picture. I still definitely perform in those roles, but that's not my identity.
Yeah.
And that, who I am now is just, it's like what you were saying before. It's that remembering. It's what people see in me now is 100% me. And yeah, it feels so good. It feels so good. And I just, more than ever, want other women. And I'm sure you're in this space too, Lauren, where when you get that experience, like really get that experience of blowing your life up, blowing yourself up, everything you thought you ever knew is just a load of shit, and come back to this true essence of yourself and embrace it and own it, the good and the bad, and you live that every day, and it feels really good, that sense of power. It's just like, wow, there are so many women walking around stuck in this space of not embodying themselves, not feeling powerful. And it's just, I suppose it's just having that desire, I suppose, as we do with working with women, of more women to feel illuminated, to feel powerful, to feel themselves. And I think as you've said before, Lauren, to be full of themselves.
Yes.
To really fucking own them and own themselves. And what I've said to myself lately is I want to own the shit out of my life. Like I want to own it. It's and to me that's just that's a side effect of just feeling really powerful in yourself. And I wish that for every woman, really.
Yeah, that's what happens, isn't it? Like when you become full of yourself, when you are your fullest self, when you are fulfilled within yourself, you want to share it. You don't know.
Yes.
I don't know any woman that is filled with herself that doesn't want to share it. And the reason why we get on social media and we keep or whatever channels are available to us, and we keep talking about this and keep embodying it, is so that you can feel that way for yourself. No one wants to just be the only one that feels good and to be on their own in that. There are some beautiful experiences that happen when you are on your own, but inevitably you want to share it, and you want other people in on the secret. You want in on it. So when a woman shares herself in her fullest self and owns her stuff and owns the shit out of her life, if you are listening, do not get triggered by that. Do not take that personally. All she is doing is showing you that there's another way than playing and staying quiet and not knowing herself and going through life wearing a mask that's really comfortable but intensely painful. So these are any woman that does that, I want to assure you, what she's really saying in whatever she's putting out there is, I would love you to walk with me in this.
Yes. Yes. Yeah, absolutely. And I think it's an interesting experience, you know, what you're saying there, because I definitely, when I was not in this space last year and in previous years, and definitely had several masks on, I not feeling full of myself and not feeling powerful and not loving myself and embracing myself. I would be so triggered by seeing other women in their power. It was a really big internal conflict, because I'd have this bodily response where I'm like, oh, what are they doing? Who do they think they are? Why are they doing that? And why are they doing that? And I'm not. And it would trigger so much stuff underneath. But then, you know, at the same time, I'd be trying to reason through that and going, well, you know, power to her, and that's awesome. And, you know, let's try and support her. But it was just such an interesting internal experience where I was really triggered by their power. Because it was almost like showing up a mirror to me that I wasn't in my power.
Yeah.
And I needed to be. And every woman needs to be. And I think, yeah, that's what you're saying there, is that when we see other women in their power and owning themselves and putting themselves out there in lots of different ways, it's just showing us that there's a different way to be.
Yeah.
And that we can all do that in our own way, you know, embrace ourselves and own ourselves and be full of ourselves and have that power. There's enough space for all women to have that power. And I think that's where that kind of scarcity mindset can come up, where we see other women being in their power, that we're just like, oh, well, that means there's not enough room for me, or who do they think they are that they can do that and I can't? And it's just like, no, let's reframe how we're looking at this woman, as she's gone through a lot of shit to get to where she is, for starters.
Yeah, guaranteed.
Yes. If she's in her power, she has fucking blown her life up, herself up, felt like absolute shit, questioned herself and everything in her life to get to where she is now. So I think, when we can also have that realistic mindset of, when you see a woman in her power, know that she has been where you are.
Yeah.
She has been, you know, in those depths of questioning herself and questioning her life. And she's just showing you that you can be in your power too. Yeah.
And it really does link back to what you said about it happening through the body. People, you can smell things through screens and social media. Like, even though your sense of smell isn't actually activated, everyone can smell inauthenticity, putting on a pose, doing something because someone will think it looks good to other people. Anyone that you genuinely perceive to be in their fullest expression, in complete authenticity, where there's just no gaps, there's just no question or doubt, I guarantee you she would have been through shit, and she would have exactly what Libby said. And what she's doing is what Libby has done for herself, which has gone into her body. She's gone into her body, and you don't just go into your body once. It's not a one-off, okay, I did it, I went into my body, or I dropped down into my body. You do it again and again and again and again, and you do it in a variety of ways. You do it like anyone who's been following for a while will know that dance is my favorite way of doing that. I don't really meditate much or at all. The stillness piece, I need blood flowing. And I do drop in a little bit and anchor in and meditate, but I really like things that require my participation through my body. So when I go to anchor in, I actually use my words and I say, Mama Earth, please take this charge and replenish me. This is what I'm calling in. I actually speak it out loud through my voice, because it helps me to be more engaged. And the other way is, as people would know, is dancing. It's getting the blood flowing. It's remembering. Everyone can dance. Everyone can dance. When someone says that they can't dance, I just want to get a wet fish and slap them. I'm like, yes, you can. Everyone can,
all can
or
dance.
jiggle or wriggle or sit on a bed and just move a little bit. Like, you know, regardless of ability, everyone can gently move their body or their arms or their hands in some way, shape or form, and that's dancing. And it's there and it's always available to you on tap, bit of music. You don't need to go to a fancy dance class, as much as I'm all for that if that's what you want, because that's what people do. You don't have to go to a club. You don't have to, always there for you in the bathroom whenever you need to remember who you are and who you were and who you could be.
Oh, absolutely. And that's what the music did for me. Like I wasn't just standing in the bathroom listening to music. Like I was dancing. And I danced probably like 2 to 3 times a day. So the way that I start my day, like 5 days a week, because it just seems to be working for me at the moment, is I'll get up pretty early to go to the gym. But what I do before I go to the gym and I'm getting ready is I listen to music and I dance in my bathroom. It's 4:30 a.m. and I'm starting my day with coffee, of course.
Of course, Libby. You know we're all for the coffee here.
Yeah, absolutely. But I think that, like what you're saying, it's almost like I'm not starting my day with meditation. I'm not starting my day with reading or journaling. And I've done all of that. And it's not to say that that stuff isn't helpful or doesn't work or can't get you into your body. But I think that's where I've definitely gone wrong in the past, and maybe a lot of other really heady based women do, you know, if we're in our heads a lot, is that whole thing of, I'm just going to read this. I'll read my book for 10 minutes in the morning, or I'll do my journaling, or I'll do this. And it's keeping us stuck in our heads. And it feels so good. Like I will literally jump out of bed, grab my earphones, make a coffee, head to the bathroom to get changed and get ready. And like I'm dancing at 4:30 in the morning, and it feels so fucking good. And it sets me up for the day where my body is switched on. My body runs the show then, you know. And it's not to say that I don't ever use my head. I definitely use my head still, but my body is there. It's there more than it ever has been, really. So I think that's a key thing is being in your body and not trying to not trying to use the brain to get into your body, if that makes sense.
Yeah, most definitely. You used a great word at the very beginning. I think it was bypass. Bypass.
Yes. Bypass the brain.
and one of the key things there as well is starting on the note of the body, not using brain, and then later on the day, I hope my body just suddenly kicks in. It's like it's never too late. I would never use those words, but there's more power in starting on the note of the body as soon as you can. As soon as you're cognizant of it, it's like, right, drop in. How can you drop in? How can how can you come into the body? I love it. We're speaking the same language.
Absolutely.
Yes. Now, Libby, we've talked a lot today about what women grapple with and what they conceal. I'm just wondering, you've given us a lot of juice, a lot of marrow, a lot of nectar in this episode, but I'm just wondering, is there what are 3 things that you want women struggling with being their fullest selves to know? And you might have already mentioned them, so feel free to repeat anything that you've said, because repetition is always a good thing.
It is always a good thing. I think I would firstly start of just, if you're in a space of feeling like you're not owning yourself, or you're not feeling as alive as you'd like to feel, or not feeling powerful, or you're feeling stuck, is to firstly know that it's possible. It's so possible for you to feel different and for your life to feel different. And it doesn't mean that there has to be big shifts to what your life looks like on the surface. You know, and I think maybe that brings us to kind of point number 2, is that the biggest way to get that shift of connecting more in with your power and truly remembering yourself is letting your body come online. Letting your body come online and your brain offline. And it's funny that phrase, you know, my brain went offline. I feel like maybe I sent that to you in a message, Lauren, when you when you were reaching
You did.
out.
I couldn't believe it. Almost fell off. I'm like, what's she talk? Like, what? This is Libby, like brain offline. And I was like,
what?
Really? I was seriously like, really? You're not responding immediately? Who is this?
But I sent that in a message to you because you were just trying to tee up when to do the interview, and I was just like, oh wow, Lauren, it sounds amazing, but honestly my brain is offline. It's fucking January.
Who's replying to her messages?
I'm like, I don't have a diary. I don't know what day it is. I'm just getting up, dancing, moving, having sex, eating, being in the ocean, sleeping. Like that's my to-dos at the moment. None of them are concerning my brain. So I think it's that switch. So many of us, we're really in our brains. Our brains are online. They're running the fucking show. And our brains are great, but it disconnects us from our body when we're too much in our brains, and it disconnects us from just truly feeling the goodness of life and feeling our power. So yeah, I think that's been a huge shattering of my beliefs. Like I'm really believing that now and living that of my brain doesn't always know what's best, and I actually need to be in my body and let my body run the show in pair with my brain. So yeah, that's I think an important one, is if you're feeling like you're stuck in your head and you're trying to solve these kind of personal development problems or wanting to reach your power through your brain, I would say switch tact and get into your body, listening to music. I'm blown away at how powerful music has been for me, and probably because of like what you said, you know, that then kind of triggers memories, experiences, sensations, and dancing. And if that's not your jam, then, you know, jumping in the ocean or being in your body in some other way. And that's where you are. That's where that true essence of who we are, our true power is, it's in our bodies. And that's why I think it's hard to find the words to describe how I feel right now.
Yeah, you are just in your illumination and in your most illuminated self, like the most I've ever seen you. And you don't need words for illumination. You don't you don't need words. You're illuminated. It's a complete sentence.
Yeah, and it's just it feels so good. So yeah, for other women that they want that or they're searching for that, I think it's knowing it's possible. It's finding a way to get your brain offline. So if that's stopping reading or stopping information seeking or stopping seeking help in certain ways, then go for that. Like, I didn't consciously make that choice. My body made that choice. I couldn't. Like, I had a full body response to going to read or listening to a podcast where I'm just like, oh, I can't do that. So it might be also just kind of ceasing these activities that you've maybe really enjoyed or tried to force, to be able to just let your body come online. Yeah.
Really, really good point. We can become self-help personal development, or even professional development junkies in a way, or we can get really addicted to need to know more, need to know more, need to know more, need to go deeper, need to meet more edges, need to learn this thing, need to and there's a time and a place for meeting your edges and growing, and then there's also a time for integration and stop and to just I did this after my big 2012 of or maybe I did at a later point. I just did so many things in 1 year that I went, wait a minute, just step back for a while and see what actually lands. What are you going to use? What are you going to integrate? What parts feel like you? What parts you want to leave behind? You don't know until you pause. If you keep going with personal development and you keep going on that track of learning, because I have to always be learning and absorbing, you will not know yourself. Like you are paradox. You're going to be further disconnected from yourself because you're just going to be parroting all these things that other people say. It's like, oh, who are you? Like, are you? Yeah. What do you want to keep? What do you want to let go of? So I really, really appreciate that you brought that up. So that hasn't been mentioned yet on the podcast, that there is so much space for the pause and the stepping back and the not absorbing. That there is actually deep learning in that. And I know, and your head will not hear this. This is not a message for your head.
No.
You'll stay with it. This is a message for your nervous system and your body and your heart and your soul that already know that all of this is true.
Absolutely. And I think it's that whole thing of, that we can get addicted to information seeking or seeking external things outside of us to try to know more and learn more and unlock ourselves. But it's like for me, for where I am now, I can hand on my heart say I never would have gotten to this point if I hadn't have gone through the shit of last year and be what felt like being backed into a corner where my only option was to stop the work that I love. Like that's the space I got to where I was just like, I can't do another week of this. That's how bad I got. That I felt, backed into a corner, and I didn't want to be there, but I had to be there for me to get to where I am now. And no books, no journaling, no therapist, nothing external to me was going to get me to this place of power. It was truly embodying being in my body. And not trying to force that, but just, my body coming back online and just going, holy fuck, this feels good. Where has this been? And then my body, chasing more of that. Really. It wasn't my brain chasing it. It was my body going, oh my God, I want more of that euphoric dopamine where it just feels good. Let's get that. So I think it's you reach a point where the brain can only do so much, really.
Yeah, that's right. And that's what it's made to do. Like it's made for certain functions. It's not made for every function.
No.
And, most of our serotonin's produced in our gut, right? Is that or a lot?
Yeah, absolutely.
So it's not, the body really does have a big role in your level of satisfaction and your level of fulfillment. And that's why we do need to bypass the brain every now and again and really utilize the brain and the mind for how incredible it is at certain skills, because it is. That's just a fact. It's just not the one-stop shop for all of your, like you said, all of your problem solving. Libby, this is going to change your work fundamentally. This is going to change and reverberate through so many of your future clients, whatever means you choose to serve from here on, whatever it is you choose to do. I have no doubt that it's just like this weight has been taken off the work, and and a new light is being shone on it, because you've been doing the thing, and now you can show other women who are in their heads that there's another way. I'm really excited for you, and I'm excited for the women that are going to access that wisdom through you, that wisdom that's in themselves through you.
Thank you. Yes, I absolutely feel it. It's one of those things, and I think it's similar to your own experience too, Lauren, where like once you've gone through it and once you're in it and once you have that new way of being and existing and embodying it, it's just there. Like it's not
it just is
forced, it just is.
Yeah.
And then that's absolutely going to filter, and it filters through every aspect of my life and will definitely continue to do so. So yeah, it feels fucking great.
Yes. And now we have a recording of you saying that. So if you ever dip, it's going to be like, we'll have you on record saying how fucking great it feels. Get back to that. And I only say that because that's so natural. I know that you won't, but just in those times where it's like, I just want to contract a little bit. It's like, no, come back to your fullest self. She's always there for you, and she's always there for every listener. Libby, at the end of every episode, I ask you some quick shoot questions. Would you be willing to go into your body right now to answer these questions? Because your mind's going to want to like craft a perfect answer. Well, actually, it won't now that you're a changed woman. But I would love you to go to access that beautiful INFJ intuition of yours and to give us some of your truest responses. Is that okay with you?
Yes, absolutely.
Okay. What's your favorite sensation?
Oh, favorite sensation. Oh, that is a really good question. Gosh, hard to answer because I think I have a lot of different sensations coming up. I think it's hard to describe, but I think it's like this sense of exhilaration. So when it's like jumping in the ocean and it feels icy cold but feels really good at the same time. When it's hard to describe, but I think it's this feeling of exhilaration which I haven't had for many years, but it's there every day for me now in different ways through just different experiences. You're
calling it in, like you're actually making it a part of you. You're making exhilaration a part of your day.
And I think what's helped with that is a mindset shift of just being open to life and what's outside of my control. So instead of being like, okay, I've got to have this plan and everything's tightly controlled, which was closing me off to different opportunities or experiences or conversations or anything with other people, I've now got this openness where it's just like, I wonder what's going to happen, what's going to come in my path today. And that's exciting when you actually go, there's shit outside of my control, and we worry about the stuff that can go wrong, but we often don't think about what could bring in something fucking exciting in your day. So I'm living every day like that and chasing that sense of excitement and exhilaration in some way.
Yes. What is your favorite secret place?
Favorite secret place? A secret place to go to?
It could be internal, it could be external.
Favorite secret place, I would actually say it's internal. I am loving like replaying memories of just different experiences of when I was younger. So I've spent a bit of time, and my body goes back to that place. This past week, for whatever reason, I've been replaying memories of when I was 20, and I went to America with my best friend, and we lived in Colorado for 6 months and did like a ski season over there. And for whatever reason, like memories have just been popping up, and I've just been like dropping into that, like just kind of marinating myself in it and take myself right back to that. So many different experiences where I feel like it's just my own experiences and no one else needs to know it. I don't need to share it with anyone. And I love that. I love that about us as humans, that we do have so many internal experiences that are secrets every day. I love this idea that we're all walking around and people have their own thoughts that they're not saying,
Yeah.
or memories or experiences. And, you know, as much as I think it's great to share secrets, I love that, we all can drop into our own internal world, and that's just for us. That's cool.
Yeah,
I don't know if that answers your question.
Yeah, it does. Yeah, that's what I love about that question in Secret Place is it's very tempting to talk about an external place or to say it's when I went to this place overseas, but I really feel that the richest experiences that we have are simply already inside of us. And I really, what you said really resonates about us having our own secret experiences and thoughts and feelings and sensations every day that we just don't necessarily share, and they're just little nuggets of gold for us. Like that, it makes life so much more of a, you know, a rich tapestry and more engaging. Yeah. What's one secret talent you possess?
A secret talent. Oh, I don't know if I have any secret talents. Yeah, I don't know if I have any secret talents, Lauren. They're all my talents. What you see is what you get. All my talents are out there to the world. I'm pretty talented in a bit of a funny way in terms of there's probably not a day that goes by where I don't spill food or coffee on myself. Or where I don't drop something or run into furniture or something. Like my legs are covered in bruises at the moment, just because I run into shit. Like it's just one of those things where maybe I've actually previously tried to disown this about me, where I'm pretty clumsy, and a little chaotic sometimes, a bit of that kind of wild, messy feminine, which I think I've really tried to disown and go, oh, I've got to fix this about myself. And now I'm just like, oh, she's welcome to the party. She's here.
Yeah, come on in. You're the one that actually makes the party so much more fun.
Absolutely. I love it. I love it about me that I'm fucking clumsy and messy and a bit chaotic. Like that's my hidden talent that I think I've really tried to fix, and I've tried to disown and tried to get her in order. And now I'm like, oh, just come and grab a seat. Actually, don't grab a seat. Come and dance on the table. Oh yes, absolutely. She's the one that dances on the tables for sure.
Yeah, she is. Yeah. I love her. I love her. What's your secret pleasure?
Oh, secret pleasure. Secret pleasure. That's a really good question. Probably, it's maybe a bit, what's the word? Textbook response, but it's probably something that I have kept really under wraps, don't talk about a lot. But it's sex. It's gotten really well reacquainted with sex lately. To be perfectly honest, I don't think I've had this much sex in my whole life. And it's an absolute, it's something that secret pleasure, I guess, because I'm not talking about it with everyone. Well, I am now. And something that I think, for so many women, I'm sure for so many women, you know, sex, you might be having sex, but maybe there's not enough pleasure there, or it's lost that aspect, or there's no sex. And I think it's something that for so many women, we starve ourselves. We starve ourselves of pleasure in a sexual way. And it's just, there's just, so much goodness there. So that's my secret. That's no longer a secret.
Yes. Breaking out into a clap. Libby, who's one woman who's really seen you?
Oh, it's 100% you, Lauren. There's no, honestly, like there's no other women. It would be you and my best friend Lou, who I've known since I was 10. And she now lives in Canada, and she's yeah, she definitely sees me for me, like the wildness and yeah, all of me. But I think what made the work with you so confronting was because you did see me. And I feel like whenever we, over the years, whenever we've had interactions, whether it's been, you know, other kind of catch up sessions or even emails or messages, like I've probably been a bit like nervous sometimes to interact with you because I'm like, fuck, Lauren really sees me. Like I can't, I can't. She like I could be putting on a show right now and doing a lot of talk, and she's just seeing right through that. So, but you know, that's what's needed, really. So, and you saw me like all those years ago and did a phenomenal job to help me to see myself. But I feel like you saw in me what you probably see in me today, but I didn't see it in myself then.
Yeah. Yeah.
If that makes sense.
Definitely. What you said, the 3 tips you gave to women, the first one you said was possibility, and just totally from the get-go, full of possibility. Like it's all there. It's not going to be a matter of is this possible or not. It's like, no, the possibility piece is there. It's right there. It's all inside of her. And you did amazingly with what you had in 2013. You actually, your outcomes, results isn't the word I want to use. Your outcomes were actually really phenomenal back then for where you were at. So that expansion wanted to meet you, and now, and this just takes time. I was just saying to Libby before we pressed record, being in business, and it just takes time, and it marinates, and you've got to throw spaghetti at the wall, and you've got to do the same old thing a billion gazillion times, and then a new wave of possibility comes through later on when you're older and wiser. And yeah, thank you so much. It's a joy to see you. It's such a joy. And yeah, and always up and eager for the, you know, for the interaction. It's like, oh, a message. Oh, like a DM. Oh, wow, Libby's on Instagram now. Yay. It's like a little bit of like,
yes. It's been a beautiful unfolding. And I think that's, it's really true what you're saying there, like what you were sharing before about your business experience, like things taking time. And, you know, 8 years can feel like a long time. And, you know, here I am reflecting back to I haven't felt like this, close to this, since I was 19. And I'm really a fair way away from 19 at the moment. And it's just like I can see that I needed to have these years of certain experiences to get to this level of conviction.
Yes.
Like, because those I could have reached it sooner, but it wouldn't have stuck. Like I wouldn't have really felt it. I wouldn't have really embodied it. And so that's where we started our conversation, maybe before we press record, was just that whole thing of timing is everything. Like sometimes you've just gotta surrender to the timing of things and not force things, not force the growth, not rush it. Like you've got to live through certain shitty experiences to get to a place where you embody something and there's that level of conviction.
Yeah. Yes. What an incredible note to end on, conviction. Thank you so much, Libby. I have loved today. I've loved this. I love this episode so deep already. And I know I'm so lucky I get to re-listen to them to make little clips of them. I'm so lucky I get to re-listen again before, and just marinate in some of what you said again, and just like, and cheer again and feel, I just know that the listeners of the Secrets Women Keep will get so much power out of this in the most beautiful, feminine, soft kind of, here you are, this is possible for you as well kind of way. And just thank you for bringing all of your gifts, and thank you time for letting us still circle around each other over 8 years. Phenomenal. And have this conversation. Who would have thought? We never would have known. It was a door that we never would have opened up 8 years when we first met. So life is magical. Please, everyone, know that life is magical when you
absolutely
for it. Excellent.
Yeah.
Libby, just last thing, where can we find you?
Yes, the best place to find me is on Instagram as the Women's Psychologist. That's where I am. I'm currently still filling my time, having a lot of fun and on sabbatical. And, you know, I now have a new computer, so I'm back into trying to create some more work. But yeah, if people are seeking me out, I'm on Instagram a little bit more at the moment, sharing some stuff, and you can reach me there.
Brilliant. And Libby's very, when she gets the fire and the wind through her, what she shares is just like, generous isn't even the word for it. It's just, just pure, pure purpose and comfort and love. And so be sure not to just look at Libby's grid, but watch her stories as well when she jumps on, and really sit with her words, because she speaks to you, and that's a really, really powerful skill. Thanks so much again, Libby. I really appreciate you, and it's been such a joy to see you.
Thank you, Lauren. Yes, thank you. Likewise, absolute pleasure to have this experience with you. It's been really, really meaningful for me.
I hope this episode has contributed to your understanding of your secret self. If you enjoyed it, please share it on Instagram and tag me so that more women can feel seen and understood. And if you never want to miss an episode, then subscribe so you're always in on The Secret.